such fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. You see it in the papers, you read it every day. The riots and the fires going on in South LA. The muggers and the government, they're all wanting the same thing. They take you for your money, whatever else spring. And I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. 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 Down by the water, maybe I'm a son, maybe I'm a daughter when the music man calls. That's when I gotta play. For the things we never had, I'm burning with hate, with love. Spin around. 'Cause as a boy I had a dream. Carry it with me today. Yes, I do. Sunny skies, the smell of palm tree air. Looking back, I could never feel fair. The way the music has touched my soul, the way that the South holds its control. But I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to the lands of the new. Oh, na 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 na. That I have lost my friend. Got the sunset off the highway again. Then I get lost on a long summer day. I must go back before it's too late. You're afraid, you're feeling alone. Time and space can never unfold. The holidays can ring in your fear. The ghostly embrace can only mean tears. And I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to lands of blue. Oh, na 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 na. Sitting at the lake, I'm feeling confused, but I had my guitar, so I played this blues. But I'm afraid, what might be true, that I might never be back again. Seems to me that I have lost my friend. Got the sunset off the highway again. Then I get lost on a long summer day. I must be back before it's too late. Before it's too late. Someone to take me down at night. Someone to make my day. New revelation fills my soul. Oh, I can waste away. You distracting my attention. You're all that's on my mind. Not looking for perfection, but you're too hard to find. Now the first night is coming, and I know what to do. You know that nothing feels sweeter than someone new.
went to the 3. Nice. It was set up for the 3 for the last time. I don't have to worry about it. Jesse's like, what's going on? Good evening, everybody, for another edition of AstroWorld, the new Friday night, or the old that's new now yet again, beginners Q&A. And we got some stuff planned. We actually planned stuff. And yeah, it's kind of weird. So we usually don't plan things on this show. We just do them, but tonight, since it is a beginner's Q&A, I think we're going to kind of go along with this format of a kind of planned kind of topic ccussion, maybe like 20 minutes. What is that noise? What is that? Cicadas?
Can you hear that?
Is that cicadas?
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
That is a cicada. That's right outside in my magnolia bush.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to deal with this the whole night, because I don't know how to get that off. So if somebody could clone stamp me, that would be great. So please help me get this battery off. I'm plugged in. It's not a battery. I don't even know why it's even flashing. But this happened.
I think it just means Dan's out of juice.
I'm so. I got a text message. I'm gonna say it. I got a text message from Sean Nielsen the other day. That it was yesterday, as a matter of fact, and he's like, Dan, were you tired on Wednesday night show? I was like, man, those 3 weeks did nothing. I am just so exhausted, and it's different. If I'm not like, we're not the big YouTube channels that the Astro Imaging channel is, or Astro Backyard, or Sean is, or Amy is, and stuff like that, where, I mean, I'm not saying that they do this either. I'm sure it's not their full-time jobs, but I mean, at least have some income coming in. Well, maybe I could take a day off every once in a while to get my vision in my head together, because sometimes my vision obviously goes off the rails. So it's tough sometimes. And this battery flashing is probably the level of my, for you D&D guys out there, the level of my mana is dropping huge. And that's what it is. You see what that is? That's your life force blinking out. No,
pretty much.
But that's what it is. So I'm sorry about the annoying red flashy thing. I do apologize about that, but I'll work on it. But anyway, that being said, I know we got to go over all the sponsor stuff, and then I don't know, Jesse, you want to kick it off, and then followed by me, and then Scott. I don't even know what you're talking about. I hope you can bring something, because if you don't have anything planned,
basis support.
Yep. Cool. There you go. So Scott's comic relief and basic support. So we'll sit there and we'll do our thing, and then but tonight it's just.
I feel like we'll find plenty to talk about.
Absolutely.
If not, I trust that our viewers will give us some ideas. So.
And the chat will definitely help us. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure the people out there. So here we go. So sponsors, there we go. Thank you to our Woodland Hills Camera and Telescopes for our $50 gift certificate a month that they give us to give out to you. And looking forward to our nice present, which I still gotta solidify with Farah over at telescopes.net and Woodland Hills. So thank you to them. Followed by, again, our Red Giant levels, Prima Luce, Camera Concepts, and Optolong. I believe next month we're doing the 2-inch RGB filter set. Actually, that's this month. That's the end of this month, the final Friday of the month. So I don't know why this is posting 5 times on this auto poster is killing me. But Optolong, great. Camera Concepts, we just gave out $50. And Prima Luce Lab, if you missed it, we gave away an Eagle this year. So that was awesome sponsorship by them. And thanks also to our Supergiant level sponsors, Masters of Pixinsight and IP for AP. We are giving away a class tonight for Masters of Pixinsight. So we'll be rolling the wheel for that tonight. So, and if anybody out there that's watching that either is a corporate sponsor or a member sponsor, if you want to be at that supergiant or regular level, you can just contact me at dan@astroworld.web, and I could give you all the packages. So, thank you for all our sponsors. And of course, we cannot do this without our member sponsors. So thank you to our member sponsors, our Black Hole members. We haven't gotten any members in the past couple of weeks. I think we need to start having a membership drive somewhere. You know, we're gonna have to do that. But awesome job to all the members, the Red Giant members. We got some 2-timers up there. I know we have a second one somewhere. I think it's Hot Carl. If I remember, I think that's also Dank Solo. So I didn't want to. I think that's two. He got 2 memberships there. So I think that's the same person. And our main sequence members. Thank you again so much to all of our main sequence members. And I just got well, when you see my face, I'll show you. I forgot to take Molly's picture off before the show tonight. So if you missed it, August 17th, which was Wednesday night, we had an awesome time with Molly Wakeling, who I'm proud to consider a friend of mine now, and she did an awesome job on the show. It was so much fun having her. She has so much. I don't know, her energy level is so high, and it's so great. She has such a passion for what she does, and it was awesome for her to share her rig and what she does, and it was a lot of fun. So thank you to Molly for coming on next week, and our next guest coming up September 16th is going to be Nico Carver from Nebula Photos is going to come and hang out with us in September. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure he's going to have great stuff to tell us on that show. And then still in the works for fourth quarter, and we're coming close to narrowing down a date. It looks like it's going to be second week in November, and that Astropalooza. So the guests include so far Sean Nielsen from Visible Dark, Amy Little from Amy Astro, Molly Wakeling, Astronomy, and of course, aforementioned Nico Carver from Nebula Photos. So I'm working on a couple other people. Be nice to get some more people involved. I'm looking to get a lot. I'm looking to do a lot of stuff. So with this, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And also, thank you for watching us on all of our other. So we broke 25 members on Twitch, which is unbelievable. I never even thought we would get over double digits on Twitch, but we got 25 members on Twitch. We broke 70 members on the Discord channel. We're at 71 as of today. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram continue to grow. So please be involved. Come and hang out with us and see what we do on a daily basis, and get all the perks that are involved with doing becoming a member sponsor. I mean, all the member sponsors is really, really good. We're at something like 40 member sponsors, I think we're at now. So that's really awesome. Everyone's going to spin the wheel for the guest spot for a guest spot. Well, yeah, we could do that.
That's a great idea. Actually,
a member guest spot. You know what? And I was honestly thinking about that. I think I actually said it in a prior show too, that if any member wants to, show something, show their rig, show what they do, show a picture, show a processing technique, whatever, contact me at dan@astroworldweb.com, and I'll throw you on the schedule. And we can make this thing huge. I think it would be a lot of fun. We'll have the live panel with the 4 main guests somewhere in the middle. And in between, we could have kind of little presentations and do a 3 or 4 hour thing and just have a good time doing it. It'll be a mini NEAF You know, so
Yeah, I know we like talked about that a few months ago, and I mean that would be fun. They know, I do terrible at keeping up on watching the chats and whatnot, but I hear you guys talking what everybody's saying, and like our viewers have got some great have quite a bit of knowledge, and I love to see what they're doing, and what that would be and I know the viewers would like to see what the viewers are doing.
Yeah, exactly, and you know what? There is no other better place to get information than from the people that do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just like when you have employees at a job or your family or anything, nobody knows better how to make things better than the people that are involved around you.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it looks like Josh wants to do a data organization presentation.
Oh, please.
I told him, do it, Josh.
Please.
Just tell me how much time
a
you
couple
need.
Years ago, my data organization, and it is a Greek tragedy. So yes, please.
Just as long as it's not like Oedipus, okay? We'll be fine.
Well,
oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not gotten any better. No, I've just added a couple extra external drives and a little more headache. So, but it's there somewhere.
Yeah, people are asking about the shirt.
That's Scott's actual his design.
No. My wife.
I'm sorry.
My wife.
Scott's
my
family's
wife
design.
Yeah, my wife did this.
And that says totally tubular on it.
Yep.
And he's got different tubes.
All the scopes.
Now,
all the scopes.
Unfortunately, my lovely shirt that I designed got so much flack on Twitter, I actually had to take the shirt off the shop.
Really?
I had to take it off. I was getting so much negative press about me having a little too much innuendo, I guess, to the shirt. And I offended some people, I guess.
Well, if you're not offending somebody at least once or twice a day, you're probably hiding under a rock.
Yeah, probably doing something wrong, right? I mean, I thought it was funny, and apparently it wasn't. And so no, I bought one of the shirts and then I took it off.
Yeah, and if you guys want these, you go to my YouTube channel, and on the banner right at the top, all the way to the right, there's a couple little icons there. There's a couple of shirts there that my wife has designed. They're fun. They're kind of goofy. This one's more serious of the ones that she's done. But I love these shirts. I bought several of them. I wear them around. They get a lot of attention. So
yeah, well, I'm getting people. I don't know if they want to see your shirt or mine, but I'll show mine real quick. Let me go grab it. Babe, do you know where that shirt went? That
yeah.
It's upstairs.
Well, I like it. I happen to like that. That is amazing. Do you have it in purple? Because that's important.
You can get them in purple. You can get them in. There's a rainbow of colors.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
They're on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. I don't think they're too terribly expensive either. I can't remember exactly how much they were on there. I think $20, something like that. 20,
yeah,
20,
not bad at all.
22, $23, something like that. I don't remember. There's a couple of really fun ones up there. My personal favorite is the Astro Peeper, which is it's an alien in a spaceship behind a shower curtain, with the shower curtain pulled, saying "Eek, astronomers." Yeah,
yeah, that's a cute one.
I did that one. That one's really cute.
Yeah, that shirt is cool.
I did one up and had it I had on a word splash, and it was like all the terrible things that I say to my scope in the dark, and I had it done on a word splash, and I had it ordered And I do have a Cricut, but like some of the words are so tiny, and I just didn't feel like picking through all that stuff, so I just had somebody else do it. And it is the smallest large size T-shirt I have ever seen in my natural existence. So I'm like, it, but it's got like all the, unpark, darn it. That's not what it says. But
Scott, your link on your YouTube channel says something.
Yeah, in the upper right.
Oh, I see it. I
right
see
in
it.
the banner.
Yeah, you got it a little
Yeah,
hidden.
right.
You got to kind of.
Yeah, it's right next to Stillwater Studio. You can also go to the about part of the page, and the links are there.
Right.
AstroWorld link is there. There's a bunch of other links there.
Yeah, I just posted Scott's link right in the chat. So just when you go to his YouTube channel, just go into the banner on the bottom right. You'll get, thing. So this is the shirt.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I remember when you posted that to the I'm sorry, I think it's funny.
I think it's funny. And that's the only one in existence. So see, everyone's laughing. You know why? You know what? I'm gonna put it. Screw it. I'm putting it back on the page, and I just won't put it on Twitter. I'll put it back up. We got so many.
You got to put that shirt up, Dan. Seriously, you got to put that shirt up and have a meme right next to it with like the church lady. Remember from Saturday Night Live?
Isn't that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
have not thought of the church lady and like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Dana Carvey, man.
Dana Carvey. Yep. All right, so we're here tonight on our Q&A, and we got a little bit off track there with the shirts, but that's okay. Everybody's laughing. Who made that? Satan. Satan. Got to get the big zoom in,
Mm-hmm.
But it could be no. Satan didn't make the shirt. I did.
Satan, Daniel.
Yeah,
one and the same.
Yeah, all I need is some horns. We'll be good. But So Jess,
Okay.
What do you got for us today?
All right. So tonight we are going to start off talking about taking our gear on the road. So yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of us image from our homes. A lot of us take our gear on the road. So we're going to kind of talk about, considerations of when you're imaging away from your home. Okay. So, and I'm sure there's some folks out there that whether they've just got streetlights, they have nosy neighbors, maybe they have a homeowner association that does not want them having a telescope out in their front yard. I don't know, whatever it is, a lot of times this hobby will take us away from our homes. Maybe you have trees all over your house, your yard, and you can't see anything. So want to talk about, just a few different things, choosing our location, how to organize and pack your gear up, setting up away from home, and then some safety concerns as well. So, a lot of this is probably going to be no-brainers for most of us, but, I think maybe some of these things, maybe if you've not thought about it before, if you've not taken your gear anywhere, maybe this will be something to think about. And please, viewers, throw in your comments. If there's, if you're someone that takes your gear on the road, please, kind of, drop in the chats, what it is you do, what it is, some considerations that I might not have thought of. So the first thing is you want to check your location. I mean, I know this seems like a no-brainer, but you want to really scope out your location. Okay. I have a few locations near me that I take that, I didn't this summer, and I'll get into that, later on. But they're just a few miles down the road, but the first time I took my gear down to one of these locations, I knew where it was. I had been there before, but I had never gone there with the intent of, I'm going to set a telescope up. I'm going to be there in the dark of the night. What things do I need to think about? Fortunately for me, I had, it was when Common Neowise. So I just had a tripod and a camera. I just wanted to try some wide field. So when the Zematic or the irrigation system comes rolling through, I was able to pick it up and run with it. So that was, So you want to check out your location. Okay. Once you figure out your location, you want to really go there in mind that I am going to be setting up gear, potentially, up to 100 pounds of gear, looking for holes in the ground. Is there lighting that might come on at nighttime that I'm not seeing during the daytime? Could you be potentially trespassing? That's a situation that I also ran into, and I'll talk about that later.
Oh my.
You know what? I'm going to talk about it right now because, again, that was NeoWise. It's the summer of 2020. I'm telling you, I ran into it. So across the street from me is a farm field, and one of the gentleman that owns the property does not live on the property, but he was over there, and I was like, hey, can I go? Oh, he's got a mark for no trespassing. So, I told him what I'm doing, whip out my phone, show him some of my photos. He gave me permission to be there just like once or twice. He didn't want to, he's had a lot of kids that have been coming and partying and messing up his corn, and literally getting into his corn and messing it up. But he's like, yeah, you're good. So a couple weeks later, I'm over there at 4:30 in the morning, and all of a sudden here comes a truck down the road, and I hear a dog barking, and I'm like, oh no. Okay. Well, it was his son. He gave me permission, but his son had decided to stay the night at the house and did not know it. So he comes rolling down at 4:30 in the morning. I'm out in the middle of this field. Here comes this big guy with a big dog and a gun. And I'm like,
nice.
sir, I'm just taking pictures. Come here, look at this, So make sure that, you get permissions, and that permissions have been, kind of transferred to all parties involved. Light domes. If you're looking at the location during the day, you may not notice, hey, there's a development that's like right on the other side of those trees. That's going to be in the way. Can you park your car? Are you going to be able to park your car? Are you going to be able to just back it up to where you want to be? Are you going to have to carry your stuff? Are you going to, bring a little wagon or a little cart to have to roll it or, backpack it in? And then, of course, the obvious things like, can you see Polaris where you are? Don't just go, okay, we're good. And then you get there at night and go, you know what? There's this one tree right in the middle, and I can't see to polar align. And the same, pick your location, pick your target based on your location too. I actually, have done that one too. Go, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to do this. The Eagle Nebula, that's one that I wanted to. And every time I plan to do it somewhere else, there's a tree or something in my gosh darn way, so I'm like picking the location, but I'm not picking the target based on that location, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So you want to check your location, and then of course making sure that all your software is up to date, that all your drivers are installed, that all your software is up to date, because depending on where you are, you might not have Wi-Fi, so you want to make sure all your, gear is, all your equipment is up to date. So, so before you go, so now gear. Okay, this is going to be specific to everyone. Okay, and I know it seems like a no-brainer, but yes, I have had to call my husband from this location, thankfully, only 5 miles away, and be like, honey, can you bring me my actual telescope? I forgot to bring my tube. Honey, is there a silver box right near the door that has my telescope in it? Can you just drive it down to me, because I swear to God, I forgot it. It seems like it's a no-brainer, but honestly, when you're trying to pack stuff up, it's and I'm gonna caveat this. Everything I say tonight, okay, is not all stuff that I actually do. Okay, I'm gonna say, do what I say, not what I do. Make a list. All right. I'm working on making my list. I'm working on making my checklist. I had one once, but my gear has changed. So make a list of your gear, all of it, every little bit of it, from the tripod to the mount to your your counterweights, write your telescope on the list, because I've forgotten it. You go down to observe and you don't have your telescopes, you're not going to get very far. Your guide camera, your filters, your power box, what portable power you have. Make sure it's charged. Make sure, that you have, you don't have a dead battery if you're going down, going somewhere to observe. Extension cords, bring 2. Okay, just bring 2. Okay, just 2. Whatever converter you need. Because I know at home I plug into, my power here. But if I'm using a battery, I might need something different. And then of course your computer. Make sure you bring your computer, or whatever you use. If you use your computer, or if you're using, like StellarMate, you're probably, and I know a lot of you guys, I'm working on right now to where everything is, like, all my cords and everything, I can just pick it up and just drop it right on top of, the saddle. But that wasn't always the case. I mean, that was not always the case. I had, I'd pick stuff up, or when I travel, I would have I'd put my optical tube nice in its pretty little case, and then I'd have all my cords. And then I'd get down to the location and I have to plug everything in. I'd have to set it up from, from the beginning, and that was ugly. So at that time, what I did, so if you're one of those, if you're still at that stage, what I did is I had Ziploc bags, and I had them marked. And I had them for different setups. This is for the 127 and the EQR. Okay. Or this is for the 70 and the AVX, or this is for, whatever it is, these are these cords, and I put it in a Ziploc bag, and I put it in this toolbox that I have. All right. And it would be marked. And when I was done, I had to make sure I put it all right back in there. And then my cords, just to simplify the process, I use a little labeler, and I labeled what went to where. This goes to my power box. This goes to my camera. And, and because if you're setting up and you're like this mess of cords, you're like, it's doable, but it's a pain. Let's be honest. It's a real pain in the rear, So, if you can look at it and go, okay, this plugs in here. And I had it all color coded and everything, like the, blue to my power box, and the red to my camera. And then I'd have a green that went to my focuser. Now they're all a hot mess right now, but for about a year, it was beautiful. So, and then just miscellaneous stuff, So my rule of thumb is, if I've had to grab it more than once at home, it goes into my little toolbox. So I have, a toolbox, it's a Craftsman, and it's just big enough for me to sit on top of when I'm sitting at a table and I'm, getting my computer all set up. So it kind of doubles, perfect for me. And if I've had to grab it more than once at home, it goes in that toolbox. Electrical tape, little pair of scissors, twisty ties, Velcro, Allen wrenches. I have a little box. Yes, they're there. I've got like a little plastic box that has like every Allen wrench that I've ever been given with random parts. It goes in there. What other random stuff? Let's see, Allen wrenches, hot hands, gotta have some hot hands, especially in the wintertime, extra batteries, lens cleaning stuff, just planning for that unexpected. So this is going to be something different for each person, depending on their location, but always planning for that unexpected. And then just a miscellaneous, like the bug spray, a super comfy chair to sit in. That little toolbox of mine, the first time I went out and about, I'm like, okay, this is fine. I can sit here. And I'm going to tell you, about 2 hours into it, my back was sore, my butt hurt, and I wanted a comfy chair. And I have a comfy chair, but it was not with me. So that is now on the list. Bring the comfy chair, a fold-up table, of course, jackets, a beanie, gloves, spare pair of socks, coffee, always, and snacks. I cannot tell you, and I think when we were up at Cherry Springs about 3:30 in the morning, I think we started talking about like, yeah, can we get somebody to like DoorDash us a pizza?
Yep.
I'm getting hungry.
We were getting starving.
Oh, I'm telling you what, I think I was sitting there, chewing on some Fig Newtons or something, and that just was not cutting it. I'm like, I need some food. I need some real food. I need pizza or something, but some kind of snacks. So if anybody out there has any other ideas on stuff that you have, I keep extra cords. Because I found so many of the issues that that I tend to have with with my electronics not connecting, and about half of it seems to be fixed by just changing a cord. So I have extra cords, and anything else I'm forgetting, anything else that should be.
Let's see.
Before I move on,
anything else that I would bring?
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you what not to bring if you're going.
Adapters.
Well,
make sure you bring adapters. What not to bring?
What not to bring to a star party is do not bring. Hold on. Let me go back to
hand grenades.
Well, hand
Don't bring
grenades,
them.
yeah, don't bring hand grenades. That would
Not
not
to a
be
star
good.
party.
But do not bring laser pointers.
Mm-mm.
Do not bring
Yeah,
laser
no.
pointers. Do
Yeah.
not
Red
bring
light.
open fire barbecues. You got to use propane if you're going to use them, something that doesn't emit all that light. You know, I mean, I guess you can bring beer, but you know, it doesn't really do a lot of good if you're observing. But just definitely bring extra garbage liners, garbage bags. There are animals out there, and they'll smell your food, and they will come out, and they will howl at you, and then run away. But most of them will not attack you. But you want to bring extra garbage cans, and just that's just some regular critique of stuff that you should bring at or not bring at a star party.
And if like I always have my red lights, but if I'm out by myself in the middle of a field in the middle of the night, I make sure I have like a white light flashlight. You know, I mean,
Headlamp.
battery.
A red light.
Oh yeah, definitely have your. but like a white light flashlight, like you don't want to spoil anybody's dark vision, but if you're by yourself and you're like hearing random noises, it'd be like what is that? I want to know what that is over there. And the red light doesn't always do it, so a good flashlight, just to have. So that's the stuff. Okay. So as far as setup goes, and I fall victim to this all the time, making a list of my setup process. I get in a zone at home, and I have like my routine at home. I know what I'm doing. I put some earbuds in. I've got my little I'm setting up my gear playlist, which it's comfortable. I know where my stuff is. I know it's all set up. But if I go somewhere else, that same process, all it takes is like a car driving by a mile away for me to go, and I'm like completely forgetting what I'm doing. So making a list. It comes very naturally if you do it at home, but it doesn't always come naturally when you're going somewhere out, if you're somewhere else, even all the way down to, make sure you're leveling and balancing it. Make sure you're doing a rough polar line, go to plate solve, start your guiding, focus. I forgot to start my guiding when I first set up at Cherry Springs because
Nice.
I didn't. Thankfully I picked it up really quick, but I was like, oh yeah, crap, I forgot to start my guiding. But like at home, I would never forget to do it, just because like I'm so used to doing that. So it seems like it's something, very elementary, but when you get outside of your comfort zone, every little bit helps. Just write it down on a little sticky note and stick it in your toolbox or something, make sure you have time to acclimate your gear, because I leave my stuff outside most of the time. That's something that I don't always remember. If it is 90 degrees outside and I put it in an air conditioned car and drive it down the road, when I pull it out, it is not going to be 90 degrees anymore. I'm going to need to let it adjust for the temperature. Again, found this out by, I didn't realize it. I should have, as soon as I got down the road, opened it up and just take everything right out of the car. And I didn't. I started setting this up, puttering around, setting this up. And before I know it, my gear has been in an air conditioned car for 30 minutes. And now it is 70 degrees instead of 90. So I needed to give that time.
Yeah, you got some people going in there saying, don't forget the bug repellent.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely the bug spray. Yeah, I keep and I have just the little Deep Woods offs. They're like little wipes. Just in case I ever forget to bring the spray, I keep a couple of them in my toolbox at all times, and I've used and I have to remember to replenish them. I think I'm down to one right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah, now
Well,
but I'll be honest, those wipes work better than the spray.
Well, you might want to try something else. And this is something that was mentioned in the chat, but I also have them as well. Thermacell.
I think
so it's a little tank of liquid, right? And it's got a heater in it and a pad, and it heats the liquid and the pad. And you just put it on your belt, and don't worry, you won't combust or anything, but it's like this thing, and it makes a nice little area around you that's like free of bugs, and it
Ooh,
doesn't
that's
smell
exciting.
that bad, but
I
there's
like that.
no greasiness, no spray, no nothing, so you don't have to
I
worry
like
about
that.
touching your optics or
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
you should be touching your scope. I hope you're not touching your optics, but
No, but I mean, you still don't want it on your hands, like
yeah,
you drop a
exactly.
filter, you gotta grab it, and it's like, oh, now I've done the thing, for whatever it is.
Yes, Dave,
But
I know that Skeeter is a down south thing. I lived down in Georgia for a while. I know exactly what Skeeter spray is. So we'll just leave it at that.
They make great
Mark,
boats.
it's called Thermacell. I'll put it in. Actually, somebody put it in the chat, but
nice. Okay, I
there
will
you
have to.
go.
I'm
And
adding that to the Christmas list.
yeah, check that out. They make Thermacell little lanterns with lights and stuff, and they make Thermacells like belt attachments and everything else. So it's actually pretty cool.
That's something I forgot about. About 3 or 4 years ago, we had mosquitoes so bad here. I mean, that like even the dogs didn't want to go outside. It was so bad. Like they'd go out, they'd run out, and they'd come back in, and we'd have to put like swat the mosquitoes off the dogs. I mean, they would be lined up on my screen door. There'd be like 40 or 50 of them just waiting. So we ended up having somebody come and spray our yard every 3 weeks. Best money I've spent, and so I forget that a couple miles down the road, those mosquitoes are trying to carry off small children. But they're there. So yeah. And I the last time I said I haven't gone except for Cherry Springs. I really haven't, traveled much this summer, but up until this summer I have a little bit, not far, but away from my home. And one of the things, and again, I did this at Cherry Springs, and I know better. Change your coordinates, and I did change my coordinates, but in each mod, it defaulted to east latitude and not west. And all of a sudden, I'm like going, why is my telescope pointing down? Like, oh,
right. Been there, done that.
Yep, we've all done that.
Yep. And so add that to your list, because again, you're away from home, and you start talking the language of spicy sailors to your scope, and like not getting very far, but and then polar align as early as you can. I mean, I knew that was going to be an issue for me because polar alignment, it is. I will say one of the trees is gone. My husband asked me to 3D print up some cup holders for a friend's RV. I'm like, really? Yeah, take that tree down for me. So we negotiated. So it doesn't really affect my viewing, but I can see Polaris much better. There's only one branch and one small tree in my way now, so I can actually see Polaris. That is fantastic. But I was stomping around the other night like a petulant child, like I can't polar align. I can't see anything. I'm gonna be stuck till November.
That's funny.
It was terrible. But I do, when I go somewhere else that I'm just not familiar with the sky that's to the north or the south. So, making sure that if that's a situation for you, that you're polar aligning early, that you're getting up and you're getting it, you give yourself enough time to actually get set up before it gets dark. So, and then the last thing in this one I find has been, for me, it's just safety issues, because let's be honest. I mean, when we're not in brightly lit areas, we're in dark, secluded locations in the middle of the night with really expensive gear. Myself, I'm not fortunate enough to have anybody to go with me, so I have to go out myself. And I mean, this is just, like almost hiking protocol, but, I'm always make sure somebody knows where I am. That's generally my husband, but I'm letting him know where I am and giving him an idea of what time that I'm going to be back. What's my window? And if you haven't seen me by this time, come and find me, and I generally check in on him, check in with him. I don't post on social media until I get back. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be down the road at this location, with,
in a dark field by myself.
Exactly. Like, hey, hey, come on.
Not a good idea.
So yeah, I mean, and it's something, that like, when I go away, when you're like, if you're on vacation, your whole family's on vacation, you wait, like if somebody's home, it's one thing, but, but it's the same, like, you don't want to be, letting people know, hey, I'm out in the middle of this field all by myself, come and rob me, because that's kind of what you're telling people, I mean, you hope that.
Or worse.
Exactly.
Or worse. Yeah. And keeping your head on a swivel. I mean, it's, just knowing your location. Not to say that you guys don't have an issue with this, but as I'm like 5'2", and now granted, there's a lot of cupcakes in my life, so I'm going to be a little harder to carry off than I might have been, 15 years ago, but
I got to use that one. Okay, you're going to lose that one, Jesse. I got to use that one in the future. I got too many cupcakes in my life.
That's hilarious.
I got to use that one.
I mean,
that's
hey,
freaking awesome.
Like, those are facts, okay?
That's funny.
That's freaking awesome.
But like knowing your location, I mean, I used to. It's been, oh my gosh, it's been 12 years. I used to do martial arts. I did get my black belt. I have my black belt in Tang Soo Do. I have what's called my Jokunim, so I'm actually certified to teach up to level, up to black belt. But again, a lot of cupcakes between now and then. I used to be able to toss a man. I don't know if I can. I might fall flat on my face. So, but one of the things that we used to, that the women at our dojang used to teach was, self-defense and situational awareness. So I find that is something like always just keep your head on a swivel. Know where you are. Know what's around you. Not the time to put earbuds in. You don't want to be out in that field by yourself jamming to your tunes. I love my music, but I'm not gonna take away my hearing. I want to hear. I mean, now where I live, I don't have to worry about snakes. I don't have to worry about coyotes or bear. And I know people in different locations have different wildlife that are issues, and that's, you don't want a bear sneaking up on you. If you're in a location where bears are, you don't want, to turn around and be like, oh, look, hey, Mr. Coyote, you want to know what's around you. So you want to make sure you can hear, so, if you have to have music on, play it quietly, but make sure you're not blocking your hearing. Don't grab your phone and be staring at your phone when you're running. You don't want to be distracted. You want to know what's going on around you at all times, and that's one of the issues that I've had this year. I mean, there's been an uptick in crime a lot of places, including around here and including at the places that I have in the past imaged at. So I have kind of stepped away from them, just because I don't feel like they're safe anymore. I don't feel like I want to go to these locations. The one location that I talk about the most, it's, let's say, only 5 miles down the road from me, but there is a, not busy road. It's a, secondary road, but enough people that go by there. And I've had people come up on me just out of curiosity. And I'm gonna tell you, it makes your heart stop when you're there at 2:00 in the morning and a strange car comes rolling up and you're just like, who are you? And they're just like, oh, I just wanted to see what you're doing, but it just makes your heart stop. And I can't imagine these people, sneaking up on me if I had not seen them. And just all of a sudden there's like a person there like, hey, keeping your keys, if, keep your car locked, keep your keys on your person, and then checking the location. That comes back to checking your location. If it doesn't feel safe, just don't go. I mean, there is no image out there in the world that is worth, your safety. I mean, people who have been victims of crime tend to say that, something didn't feel right and they ignored it. And that's something that women do. So if there's any ladies out there that are listening, I mean, it's, you have, if it doesn't feel right, just step away from it, and just go home. Unpack, if at any point you feel unsafe, go away, and then, the last, and I don't know if this is too controversial, but it's something that I have done, is, in the state of Delaware, we can open carry. And I have done that. I don't too much anymore. I don't have my concealed carry. It's something I intend to get. I just am lazy and haven't done it. But that's something that I don't know if anybody else out there does. I'm
Oh,
sure
they've already been talking about it in the chat.
Oh, have they been?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I open carry. I do. I haven't because it kind of occurred to me one time that I had my handgun sitting on my table, and then I'm walking away, and I'm over here playing with all this stuff, and it was sitting by itself, and I'm like, that's kind of like somebody sneak up on me and be like, hey, and so I kind of like, maybe I don't want to do that. So I carry a tonfa. I don't know if anyone's familiar. It's kind of like a billy club.
Yep.
Just a little, just about this big, a little handle on
Yep,
it. And
yep.
I carry those, and they're perfectly legal, and I can have them, and I can keep them concealed. So if I go somewhere away from home, I carry them. Is it going to do any, I don't know, but it makes me feel a little bit better.
Let's just make it clear for all of our viewers in there. We are not condoning violence, we're condoning protection. So
yes.
I just want to make that clear, that don't go to the last thing we need is somebody going to a star party and shooting up everybody. So
this is not for star parties. This is for if you are sitting out in a field by yourself, and because again, like, you got to protect yourselves. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to protect yourselves. So, I hope this isn't, that my saying this isn't too controversial.
Nope, you're fine.
I know people have their mixed feelings on guns, but, I'm not all, but I have them, and I have them for a reason, and, if anybody's going to try and take my gear, I'm going to have a fight,
one way or another.
One way or another. Yeah. Like,
either with the black belt or something else.
something. Like you said, back to the cupcakes. It's been a while, so like I haven't done that, for many, many years. That's a whole nother story for a different whatever. But anyway,
George, you're exactly right. There is, if they're not allowing laser pointers at star parties, I'm pretty sure that guns are not allowed at star parties.
Yeah.
No,
this is not for star parties, guys. No. And I'm not telling anybody out there, hey, go, I'm just saying, because I know there's probably some of you guys that already do, and some of you guys that probably have thought about it, and it's just a safety. And like I said, for me, that's one of the reasons I have not traveled this year is because of safety issues.
Yeah.
So that's something you got to think about, and it's a sad fact that we are where we are, but we sit in dark fields, in the middle of the night. So, we got to take care of our own first.
Yeah. So the bottom line is just be safe when you're out by yourself. That's and
if you can find a friend, go find a friend. I'm like trying like crazy.
I don't go out to fields by myself. I always go with people no matter what. And I'm usually one of the first to leave. For just whatever, just because while other people are there, I don't feel bad about leaving somebody by themselves. Leave that on somebody else's plate. But me and my buddy Ron, who's usually in the chat, goes and we go all the time. But I can't wait. In 13 days I can get the reissue of my 13 days. The reissue of my parks permit, which allows me to go to my parks at nighttime, my stargazing permit. That got accidentally thrown out this year. So I had to kind of jimmy my way into parks and stuff like that. But my buddy Dave from Long Island said he has his attack Yorkie that he has that runs around. But yeah,
that's the way to do it. That's what I need. Yeah, I need to borrow my mom. My mom has 4 Chihuahuas. I stopped by her house yesterday, and they got me back into a corner, and I was like, "Holy God!" I'm like, "Mom, get these things." And I'll tell you, they would have been.
There's my attack Chihuahua. There he is. There he is. He's got his little bow tie on.
Oh, how adorable!
He just got groomed today, and
he's sweet.
Now he's growling at me, so he wants to go back in his bed. So.
But let's say if you're able to go with someone, I'm not, I've not been fortunate enough to go with anyone. I always find like every so often I can get, I can talk my husband into going with me, but more often than not, like, it's me and my gear and, some cupcakes, or something,
exactly.
So I am kind of, you know, so I kind of have a different idea of like what I'm, you know, looking to do, you know, when I'm out, you know, one of the spots that I used to be, and I would just, when I was using like a little star tracker. And around the corner from me, there is a development that never happened. And they got as far as putting in like the little entranceway to the development, and that was it. So I would set up right there, and it was right by the road, but it was, you know, I wasn't, you know, imaging in that direction. I was imaging away from it. So, you know, it was kind of a nuisance. But I found cars must have thought I was like a speed trap or something, and they would start slowing down. It was the funniest thing. And you know, every so often I'd have somebody, you know, stop me like, you know, what you doing? You all right? Everything okay? You know, and you know, nothing that ever made me kind of, you know, concerned, but people did see what I was doing. So that was my first location, you know, like, okay, I'm going to take some stuff and I'm going to leave my house because, you know, I want to go see the Milky Way, you know. But you know, I thought it was kind of funny, and I had my oldest child came down with me one time, and I had said, it's like, oh, you know, you're gonna watch these cars. All of a sudden, they're gonna get, you know, they're like, you know, maybe 100 feet from me, and you'll see the brake lights start popping, you know, and every stinking one of them, they'd get, you know, within about, you know, 100 feet, 50 feet, and the brake lights would come on, and they would see my gear, and they thought I was like a cop, like, you know, with the radar or whatever, or something, and then they just slow down. And they'd slow down and they go by. So who knows what people think when they see it, you know, see us out there, you know. But so hopefully that gives you guys a couple things to think about. Okay. You know, anybody have any other things that they like to bring with them that they, you know, any other suggestions for kind of like streamlining your process, for getting everything, to there, making sure you have all your stuff, you know, and making sure that everything goes smoothly when you're away from home. Any other? I'll say I'm terrible. I'm terrible at watching the chat.
The only thing that I would say that I do is I start packing like 3 days in advance, because I don't do lists. I just don't. Whether I just don't. There's no the list changes too much with what I feel like bringing, and you know the basics are you know, you're exactly right. The power stuff, the extension cables. I love my. Don't forget your thermal pants and thermal socks and all that kind of stuff, because depending on when you go and where in the latitude you are, if you're in anywhere north of 40 degrees. It starts getting cold at nighttime after, you know, 2 o'clock in the morning. And we figured we were getting cold last week in the middle of middle of July. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, it started getting cold. And, you know, it's you know, definitely get something that'll keep you warm. The hand warmers that you were talking about. All that.
And I've been looking at heated blankets. I've been looking at USB powered heated blankets before. So you know, so Cherry Springs. The springtime star party is supposed to be after I'm done school, so I'm going to make it, and I'm bringing a heated blanket.
Okay.
I'm not doing that because I'm going to 10. You know, I'm just, you know, I'm just too set in my ways. But heated blanket, put that on the list.
Yeah, not for nothing. Not for nothing, but you know, I've seen sleeping bags that have zipper footholes.
Oh yeah.
Yep. That you can literally zipper your feet out, you know, and stay in the sleeping bag, and it's got arm holes, so you basically look like a big cocoon caterpillar. Yeah.
Yep.
I love it. That's
they make
awesome.
Them. So first of all, Mark is saying who the hell weed waxed their lawn in the rain? Darn neighbors doing this right now. So here you go. This is for you, Mark. First of all, you're in Arizona. Do you even have grass there? Hey, come on. It's expensive to have grass in Arizona. It's the water is kind of crazy expensive over there. Forget it. But yeah, so I guess
as Jessie was talking, I was thinking about some of the things that she was mentioning, and you know, one of the things that comes to mind is protecting your gear, having a frontline electrical protection for your gear. And the especially now, if you're plugged into a battery, it's not as important. But if you're plugged into power, into city power, 120 volt, outlet, having something like this. Hold on. Where's my share? Right
It's there somewhere.
Right there.
Maybe.
Right there. Right.
Bueller. Ah, yes, absolutely.
Having something like that can be very, very beneficial. That's an inline GFI. That will be your frontline defense to protect everything, so that if you do get, God forbid, who knows what, it doesn't take a whole hell of a lot to screw up a computer, that'll stop it.
Yep.
Right. One of the other things that I was thinking about, now this isn't as important for people that have refractors that have their own cases, right? But if you have a large OTA, an 11-inch, a 14, something big, right? Having something like this to set it on, to travel. I know it's kind of goofy, but let me tell you something. When I traveled,
that looks pretty darn cozy. I might get two, one for the scope and one for me.
Yep. When I traveled from New York to Florida, my 14-inch scope sat in its bag and sat right down, literally nested right in the middle of this thing. And you talk about amazing shock absorbing protection. It literally, wrapped it around like a nest. It was great. So the other thing is, you were talking about having a comfy chair, right?
Mhm.
These things are freaking awesome.
What the hell is that?
It's a hitch mount.
Oh, geez.
It's a hitch mount for a hammock.
Ooh, I like it.
Okay. Yeah, it fits right into the receiver on your vehicle, and you can hang your hammocks, you can hang your hammock chairs, and you're in good shape.
Oh, I want that for my car.
That's
what I'm talking about?
That's pretty
cool. So the only other thing, and let me just pull out of this right there. There we go. The only other thing that I would suggest that you do, if you're going to be doing a lot of stuff, out and about in the fields, alone, you have to think like a backpacker. And believe me when I tell you, if you don't have like an REI in your area, or an Eastern Mountain Sports, a Gander Mountain, something like that, go to one of those places and you'll get all kinds of great ideas on how to protect yourself and be comfortable in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
All kinds of great stuff. I mean, stuff you probably never even thought of.
Yeah, that's my mom and I were in Utah, I want to say in 2018, maybe 2018, but we were in Natural Bridges, and I had just a couple months before found out accidentally oh wow, if I change my DSLR from the automatic to manual settings, and I can get pictures of the stars, and I decided I wanted to get a picture of the Milky Way at one of the bridges in Natural Bridges, and a little bit of cajoling, hey mom, let's go do this. So we went and checked it out during the daytime. So she was more comfortable, and of course, just smart to do. But when we got there, there was a man that was there, and he was waiting for other people to go down with us. And he was concerned of, I think bobcats is what he said, and he was like, I don't want to go down there, so, that was something I was concerned of snakes. So I had on, boots with cover my ankles. I hadn't really thought about bobcats, I think it was bobcats. But he was there, whatever, at the trailhead, and he saw what we were doing. He's like, hey, can we come along with you? And my mom was like, suspicious, which, as you should be. There's like this random dude that you don't know, like at midnight, in 2,000 miles away from home. He's like, hey, can I come take this dark hike with you? So I was like, but we saw his gear. I'm like, okay, he doesn't seem, he's got some gear. Let's go ahead. So, and then as we were starting to go, another guy ended up coming up. And I don't think he was too happy to see that many people there, but you know what? We all felt much better about it. But this one guy did not want to go down by himself. And honestly, having been out by myself, I can feel that, but whatever it is, just know your location. Is it bobcats? Do you have to worry about alligators? Yep. Like that might be a thing for you, Scott. I don't know. Like if alligators just randomly wander around in fields, I don't know, alligator,
not really.
habits, but,
not really.
Hey, your light's gone, your battery's gone. But
it's the thing with wildlife like that, because I've done a lot of backpacking in my life. I've hiked the high peaks regions. I've been out to the Rockies. I've hiked Rocky Mountain National Park. I've spent a lot of time in the wild backpacking, and one of the things that you don't want to do is to surprise a large predator, a bear, a mountain lion, a bobcat, something like that. You don't want to surprise them. You don't want to meander up on them. A lot of guys will whistle while they walk, but my favorite thing to carry was bells, bear bells.
Crunch on some Doritos. Crunching on Doritos as we're going.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, the food will definitely attract them.
That will attract them, but yeah.
But bear bells are great. Yeah, and the other thing, if you're in an area where there is a lot of wildlife like that, large black bears, the difference between black bears and grizzly bears, there's an old joke that says, the difference between black bear poop and grizzly bear poop. The difference is that grizzly bear poop has bear bells in it. Yeah. The grizzly bears don't care about bear bells.
Bear spray. So that might be something if you're in bear country. Like we don't have bears around here. Bear spray,
Bear spray works good on. Guess what? Bear spray works good on not only bears. It works good on bobcats. It works good on big cats. It works on muggers.
I figure, yeah.
Oh my.
And so, I would imagine if it's enough to, to incapacitate a grizzly bear, it would probably work on like a coyote or something.
I would think so. Yeah.
One would think.
One would think. It would pretty much work on pretty much anything you can come across. So I think you'll be fine.
It's not just the big ones either. It's not the bear. It's not just the bears. Sometimes it's snakes. Sometimes it's raccoons. Raccoons can be bold, man. They get right up in your grill.
Oh yeah.
They're bold little buggers.
They are. Like now this was not like when I was imaging or anything, but I remember being at a campsite about 15 years ago in Illinois, I think, and sitting on the computer. I was taking online classes, like summer classes. So like the kids were asleep and they'll pop up, and I was sitting down at the picnic table and I was working on, something. And raccoon got up like on the other side of my computer screen and scared the living daylights out of me. Oh my gosh. He was like, sup, like absolutely
they're
no
bold.
fear whatsoever.
No, they're bold. They're like seagulls, man. They expect to be fed.
Yeah.
So,
well, evidently some people like 2 or 3 campsites away from us, they woke up the next, later, before sunrise, but like the raccoon was like legit rolling a watermelon down the road. They had left their food out like a little screen tent, and they're like, they're like, oh, we saw a raccoon just rolling a watermelon down the road. I'm like, well, should have put your watermelon away.
Yeah, and the other thing you can do, one of the big things that attracts a lot of critters, if you're out in the field by yourself, right, and you get a that's a real issue. There are actually containers that are called bear safes, and you can get these things, and it's so any snack food you bring, any foods at all, you put it in this sucker and it seals it tight. So not only can they not get into it, it makes it very difficult for them to even sense that there's food around. because a bear can smell farther than you can see.
Well, thank God for my observing that I don't have bears around me, because I would be like, it would just be awful if I could not have my snacks on me. That would be a terrible thing. So I don't know that I'll do a lot of observing in bear country.
All right. There we go. So
Like
let's
the aroma of chocolate everywhere I go.
let's move on to the next topic here.
Did we go off the rails here, Dan?
Oh no! Well, you know what? No, I would say
Not
that
really.
I would say that it's borderline, but it's just it is an important part of what we do, especially when we're out in the we're out in the forests and we're out in the fields and we're in really, really random parts of the country doing what we all love to do. And it's important to be safe, and it's important to be not ignorant about what's out there, because it's not just people that are out there, boys and girls. It's definitely wildlife, from, like Scott alluded to, snakes, and Mark alluded to rattlesnakes and scorpions and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff out there. Now, are you going to get stung by a scorpion imaging? Maybe, but the odds of it are very, very small. So don't be worried about that. We got other stuff to worry about. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. You know what I mean? The forest. You know what I mean? In a field, in a forest, Dave. Come on. But whatever, Dave. You throw me off. but let's talk a little bit about what I got going here next, and before we get too late, because I'm 2 weeks going and I never get to do my thing here. and one of the other topics we all discussed we should be talking a little bit about one of the things that kind of hurts us, and that's light pollution. So what is it? How can we combat it? And what can we possibly do to help it moving forward? And I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let's see. And desktop capture. There we go. And PowerPoint and F5. So here we go. So you guys can see that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I can't see the other screen. It's taking up both screens now, so I can't see what's going on. So if you guys could watch the chat, if there's anything there, just shout out and interrupt. But when I was a beginner, and that was many, many, many moons ago, I didn't know what a huge difference. I was so ignorant about what a dark sky could actually do to help the images that I was taking. So I thought I would put together a little presentation about the sky and what effects light pollution can have. And who is this Bortle guy anyway? We know nothing about him. We just know that it's the Bortle scale. So I learned a little bit something doing this as well. So let's see if I can move this here. There we go. So what is light pollution? Okay. Well, light pollution, by the definition of the IDA, is the inappropriate or excessive use of artificial light, which can include, I'm going to do this and talk at the same time. Why is this doing this? Could be caused by light glare. As you can see in the picture right here, all this here is light glare. Okay. And light glare is the excessive brightness that causes visual discomfort, followed by sky glow, which is up top. Light's reflected back due to heavy clouds or water in the air, followed by light trespass, which is light falling where it's not intended. And now we're going to talk a little bit about full cutoff lights later, and things that we can do to mitigate unwanted light pollution, not only by starting at your own home, but maybe helping out and joining the IDA and International Dark Sky Association, and talking to your congressmen or congresswomen and senators. So it's real important to do that. And light clutter. Light clutter is when you just have a bunch of lights in the sky that are just shining light at you. It can be very, very annoying. And it's just a large grouping of light sources. So these different types of light pollution can be extremely detrimental to astrophotography, not to mention it could do the damage it could do to the ecology of the planet eventually, and nocturnal animals. It's really, really important for things to kind of maintain, and we could be ruining the sleeping patterns of not only ourselves, but other animals that are meant to be up at night. So, and let's not even get into talking about Starlink, because we could get into that. We could get into that and that's another project altogether. So, considerations for astrophotography. There are some things we need to consider to take, with light pollution when it comes to do astrophotography. So, one of the biggest questions that I've come up against is how can I how much more time can I expose in my Bortle 8 or Bortle 9 skies doing one shot color or mono or whatever? And I get that question quite a bit. Well, that kind of changes for every location. The light emitters from down my block may be different than down your block, and we could only be around the corner from each other, but we could have different things that are affecting our shooting. So first of all, I gotta say thank you to Lonely Spec. I took this off their website. I thought it was a cool pick to kind of give an idea, but I like to look at the histogram. And what I shoot for on the histogram is the neutral kind of exposure. So that right side of that histogram doesn't exceed that 75% mark or 66% mark. I like to have a little bit room on the right so I don't overexpose and bloat my stars. And I like to have a little room on the left so I don't clip my data. So, like where it says when it's all the way on the left, underexposed is very difficult to recover in post process, and the results are very noisy usually. So you want to have it pushed. You want to have that histogram over here pushed a little bit over to the right. So there's a little bit of space here. So you have that nice big fat, I know people are going to say something what I'm talking about, but nice big fat kind of histogram where you get all that data in there. And then you get all the way to overexposed, which is another area that can be more difficult to result in post process. But the more you can push it to the right without going overexposed is kind of where you want to be. And I'm lazy. I don't want to push it this far. I'm just not that good. so I shoot for here. And then as I get better, I'll shoot for here. But so consequences of light pollution. We need to be careful of washing out the object while imaging. So here's an example of two shots that I took from my backyard, which is a Bortle 8 sky, and we'll talk about the Bortle scales in a little bit. The one on the top is without a light pollution filter. In this case, I use the Optolong L Pro filter. And the bottom one is with the L Pro filter. So you could see a marked difference in the background. Now, is there a little bit of detail missed in the nebula over here, let's say, because you can barely make out stuff here and not make it out here? This will all be recovered with more subs. So don't even worry about it. Remember, this is unstretched as well. So it's really important that when you stretch it, if you start off with these light pollution gradients or the graying out of the background due to light pollution, without taking out the gradients and you just go and stretch it, you'll be stretching the light pollution as well. So you want to make sure that you take proper precautions in mitigating the light pollution in your area. And if you're in a Bortle 4 or lower sky, you may get a little bit lucky and may not even have to use a light pollution supplement. So, but me, unfortunately, Bortle 9 is really bright skies, and it looks like this. It looks like this all the time. So I don't see the chat right now. So is there anything going on in the chat, guys? Or oh, I can't hear you. All right.
Not really.
Sorry,
There-
I muted myself because I'm over here eating jelly beans. So,
Oh, okay. All right, no problem. I just wanted to make sure that you know that there's nothing there. So let me go back from current slide. Here we go. So how do we measure the light pollution? Okay. Number one, it's the Bortle scale. So the Bortle scale, as I just learned, is a really fairly recent invention. It's not something that's like back from the 1700s like most other scales are. The Bortle scale was created by John Bortle in February 2001, and it was first published in Sky and Telescope magazine, and it was just a way to kind of judge how bright your sky is, and it turned into this big thing, and we got stuff like I'm sorry, scale 1 is scale 1 is the excellent to dark sky. Scale 9 would be like me out in Long Island or the inner city where you got all that city light pollution. Another way to measure the night sky, and I have one of these myself, is the sky quality meter by Unihedron. Really, really good. You point it at the sky, hopefully it's a non-moonlit sky would be nice. And then you could get a judgment of how bright your sky is. And it gives you a nice little scale on the bottom where it says the lower the number, the brighter the sky. The higher the number, the darker the sky. So I did Cherry Springs, and it was a 21.2, I think it was, if I remember right. Yeah, I think it was 21.2. But so just to show you how dark that is. And here's just a nice, go ahead, Jay.
Oh, I was gonna ask you a question. So someone in the chat, so David Barnett had said, I guess, and this is back talking about the filters, that the main focus should be to swamp the read noise, help determine rec sub, recommended sub.
Yeah, recommended sub.
Okay, so my question is, at what point, like at what Bortle would you want to not? I mean, obviously, like in Cherry Springs, you probably really wouldn't need to use an LP filter, but at what, like, when would you want to kind of like you're new, you're getting started, and you're like, okay, obviously if you're 6, 7, 8, 9, but like if you're kind of in that 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, like when would you not want to use one? Like, does that make sense? Like what? What Bortle would you be,
I'll be honest with you. I have not shot in every single Bortle. Let me get off the screen here. I have not shot in every single Bortle sky that I could do, but I guess what is that? Is that Scott's hand? What is that? Oh, the 9, 8, 7, 6, and 5, I would probably use some sort of light pollution. 4, maybe I would start thinking about it, but I probably would do, I would shoot one and shoot the other and see kind of thing. 2 and under, I mean, I shot Cherry Springs and it's between 2 and 3, and I didn't use a light pollution filter, and I didn't need one. So that's me. I know that Dave's in the chat, and Dave will probably say something a little differently, but that Dave runs, just so in case everybody knows, Dave helps run Avalon, which is a astronomy facility out on Long Island, and it's really awesome. So if you're ever on the North Shore on Long Island, definitely go hang out with Dave and at the Avalon when they start doing live visits again. So that's going to be, it's a great facility. They got tons of equipment. So, but that's what I would think. I mean, anyone saying any different in the chat or?
So Dave, I guess, is saying I'm trying to do better here. I've actually been, reading some of it today. So like, if y'all ever say anything to me in the chat, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just very bad at multitasking this. He said, the sub exposure recommended to swamp read noise is 10x equals C.
Yep.
You know, R raised to the power 2 divided by P. I'm not sure what these variables actually necessarily means, you know, but there is a formula in there, you know, for that. So
Yeah,
if
anybody wants an Excel spreadsheet on swamping the read noise or a discussion about swamping the read noise, let me know. I do have a spreadsheet for that for certain filters because it's different in different
Oh, he's
filters.
got it.
What's that?
Oh no, I'm I'm saying I don't know what the variables are, but he's got them right here as I'm reading the rest of it.
I can't see them right now, so that's okay.
Yeah, where C is 10, R is the read noise, and P is the light pollution rate. Okay, cool, awesome, thank you.
There you go. All right, so let's see from current slide and moving back. There we go, and we're back. Okay, so combating the light pollution. Okay, so how do we sit there and how do we kind of mitigate the issues that light pollution can create? The first and best thing to do is to just travel to darker skies. Just go to a darker sky. If it's a half an hour drive to get like a Bortle scale 1 or 2 lower than where your home is, it's going to be worth it. Again, going back to the list that Scott and Jesse listed before, make sure you got your list, make sure you got your stuff that you need for your offsite imaging, and definitely it'll definitely worth it. Make it less noisier, and the dark sky is so much better to pull out great detail. Add a light pollution filter like we were talking about, just like the L Pro, the Batter Moon and Sky Glow. I like to use the L Pro. I've used also. That's very good. So you might want to add it and see what you get. Just don't forget, if you add it, you're going to need to take new flats eventually. So just remember that. The Optilong L Pro and the Batter Moon and Sky Glow I named. And when you go up into the higher Bortle scales, like 8, 9, and 9 plus, you may want to consider going narrowband. You don't get the same color palette as you would RGB, but you would definitely get a lot longer exposures, because what these narrowband filters do is that it only allows a certain band pass of light through, like H alpha or O3 or S2. And there are other ones out there. There's like 6 or 7 other ones out there. UBIRV something. So there are definitely other ways to go, but it's going to get you a different color palette. There are ways that people kind of figured a way to get close to an RGB palette with it, but it really hasn't been very, very successful with that. So don't forget also with color cams, the IDAS, NBZ, or the Optilong L Enhance, L Extreme, and now the L Ultimate. So those ones also are dual and tri-band filters that can help you shoot narrowband using a color camera. So those are some options for you if you are on a really badly polluted sky. Mono, we spoke about the nanometers of it. It's the band pass of the center. So if the light pollution filter of the transmission of an H alpha is, I think, 656.3, it'll do 1.5 to the left of 656 and 1.5 to the right to get you 3 nanometer band pass, and then that's the only light it lets through. So it's very, very advantageous to do it. But just so you know, the lower the nanometer band pass of the filter, usually the more expensive the filter is going to be. So and also think about the lower the nanometer wavelength band pass, the more exposures you're going to get, because the more restrictive that filter is going to be. So definitely keep all that into your thoughts when you're going that route. So how can you help? How can you help with the light pollution? Well, the first thing you could do is go to the International Dark Sky website, the IDA website, and join the dark sky movement. And you could do that just by going to the website. You could do the night sky. They send pictures in. It's called oh, I forget what it's called. It's called looking up or something, where you sit there and you tell them how many stars on Orion you see, and it judges year by year on where you're located on how many stars you see and if it's getting worse or better as far as the light pollution is concerned. As far as your own home, you could do full cutoff lighting, like the picture on the top right. You see how all the light is shining down. Well, none of it's shining up, and those are called full cutoff lighting. And it's really it's a lot better for the night sky. And if you could start off by that, and I made a promise to myself. As a matter of fact, I ordered one tonight that I will start by putting full cutoff lights in my home, just so I could not be part of the problem. Lobby your Congress people and senators. Write the letters, make the phone calls, do whatever you got to do to see what's going on with the light pollution. And you know what? All those light pollutions are a wonderful thing, but when it comes to LED lights, it doesn't do a lot. It helps a little bit, but it doesn't do a lot. You got to remember, most of these light pollution filters just knock out the hydrogen and sodium and mercury vapor lights that are emitted from those. And LEDs do not emit those, but yet still emit light. And that doesn't really help. So lobby your Congress people, go call them up, and see what you can do as far as helping the situation. And like I said before, get involved in the International Dark Sky. So in conclusion, light pollution shouldn't stop you from imaging. You could get some really decent RGB images. You'll just have to take shorter exposures and a lot more of them. And you just got to be patient. If you're imaging from you could almost draw a line down the middle of the country of the light pollution that we have in the United States. Most of it's all right down the middle and all east. A lot of the other stuff is not. And it's, again, that has something to do with people aren't as populated over there, but not for nothing, but those skies are so much more nicer. So light pollution can be reversible, and we can start by just changing our own houses to full cutoff lighting and stop shining lights in other people's houses and straight up, and be part of the solution. So do what you could do. Really try to we can fix this situation in the East and the central Midwest. It's a really bad problem, and it was just going to get worse. But anything you can do, feel free to help. And again, if you want some more information from me, feel free to email me. But thanks again, and thank you for listening. And that's all I got.
Very nice. I like it. Yeah, and I just wanted to mention one just throw one little thing out there.
Yeah.
Now of course this isn't light pollution on a larger scale, but more localized. I had a neighbor, and I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere, but I have a neighbor right next to me that I guess wanted to bring the city with him when he moved here. So he put two, the only street lights on this road, right on the other side. So I went a couple years ago and I went and talked to him about it, and I asked if there was, because I had jokingly said I was gonna do a big old cutout, and I'm not gonna say what I was gonna put the cutout of, but and put it right there to block it out. I was like, no, you know what, I'm gonna be a good neighbor and go over and talk to him first. So I explained to him what I was doing. And that light was like really just obnoxious. I mean, it just, flooded my whole yard.
Wow.
So he's like, well, let's see what we can do. So I called my electric company, and they came out and they put a shade on it. I mean, for free, so, I know we joke around about BB guns and slingshots and things of that nature.
Who's
But,
joking?
Well, okay. I'm not going to say anything there, but, but and now I was thrilled to death. I mean, within 6 days of initiating the conversation, it cost me a dozen eggs, and I probably didn't have to do it. Like, I've got chickens. So when I went over to talk to my neighbor, I'm like, hey, I come bearing gifts. So I figured I'd, kind of sweeten the pot before you ask for something. But, I just had to, I found out what needed to be done. They wouldn't do it for me because obviously I'm not the person whose house it is, but all he had to do is make a phone call, and the electric company was out like 2 days later. It took him a couple of days to make the phone call, but and they came and put a shade on it, and so it still shines in his yard, but my yard isn't pink anymore. So if you're having issues with localized light pollution, I do recommend that you before you start having to bust out the BB guns or whatever, try and see what your local electric companies can do, because I think they're aware that light pollution is an issue. Of course they've got that's their job, but check with them, because like I said, I was surprised. I thought I was going to, get a runaround, that I was going to have to come up with some kind of something. But within a week it was fixed. So definitely check with your, talk to your neighbors, let them know what you're doing, take them a pretty picture, or something, invite them over, like, hey, this is what I'm doing, invite their kids over, try, see if you can, I think people, once they understand, what it is that we're doing and that these lights are an issue, they want to, I think people naturally want to do the right thing. I hope, most, out there do. So I just wanted to mention that.
Most do. Yeah, but that's a good point. You know what I mean? That's that's something that I kind of overlooked. But you know what? Light pollution is an issue. I mean, in some places more than others. But we got to do what we could do in our backyard first.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Things aren't going to change by me calling a senator or you calling a senator. But if enough of us do, and we do it together, it may just help. I mean, in New York, nothing is going to help. Nobody's going to turn off the lights in New York. It's just not going to happen. But you know what? It's we got to start thinking about, we're all part of this community. And if we could all just do our part, and there's more of us than you think, I'm sure. But you know what? If we could just do our part and sit there and not be part of the light pollution issue, then maybe that goes to your neighbor and they start to realize, hey, what'd you do that to your lights? Why? And then they go, then the conversation gets started, and through conversations, issues get solved. And so that's my whole point of that whole thing. It's a part that's near and dear to my heart. The IDA. I've been part of the IDA for a long time. I was actually looking at meeting up with my advocate in the Bronx, and just I haven't seen her in 15 years. So I mean, it'd be interesting to see her.
Yeah, and I do need to join, because we have so much local, we have so much development that has been going on around here, and now that I am doing what I'm doing and I'm more aware of what's going on, I need to start attending some of the county council meetings for for these developments. They're going to get approved, whether I want it or not. The farmers are growing houses. I mean, it's a fact of life. But if they're putting new developments up, they could, be more conscientious about the lighting they're putting in, when they're first building. Like, so I think the best way to solve, to help the problem is to kind of, I mean, it might be harder to go back and undo what we've already done. But if we can start, if we can keep those new developments, the new shopping malls, the new whatever, and they can put, more, friendly lighting in right from the giddy up. And, I like, yeah, I know it's bad, you know, but I wouldn't know, you know, if I were to go to a meeting, I would just be that woman shouting like, no lights, no lights, no lights, you know. And I know the IDA, you know, from what I understand, there's quite a bit of information. There's a lot of resources, you know, just for that. So
there you go. We got a guest coming in and popping in. Well,
can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
Is that Sean?
That is Sean. Yes.
Hi.
What's going on, buddy?
How's it going, guys? Not much, just doing some imaging here and that and watching the show. Just thought I'd pop in and say hi, see what's up. I heard you talking about the light pollution stuff. So that is something that I have been working on for the last 12 years where I'm located. And it's been an uphill battle. It's been really challenging. You're up against a lot of false notion with regards to light pollution and misconceptions about light and safety and how it actually works. A lot of people aren't aware that there's been studies done that have demonstrated that more light actually increases crime. And a lot of people don't understand, like the insurance companies will tell, you know, in their fine prints and stuff like that, they'll say about parking your car under a street light. Well, that's actually probably one of the worst things you can do, because all it does is illuminate the interior and it allows that would-be thief to see what's inside and grab it more easily. So, you know, there's a lot of false notion that you're up against, and trying to change people's perception of that light pollution implication is really challenging. And like I said, I've been working on it for the last 12 years, primarily by myself. Unfortunately, it's hard to get people involved in that. It was at one point a full-time job for me, almost or a second job. Like, it was just taking that much work, talking with officials and you know, getting the message out there and whatnot, trying to keep up with it all was really, really challenging to do. So I applaud anybody who is making the effort to try and mitigate this problem, but it's actually gotten worse with the advent of white LED. That was actually, and the guys that invented white LED, they won, what was that prize, that award, that prestigious award that you can win? I can't think of the name off the top of my head right now, but you know, they won an award. What's that?
Nobel.
The Nobel, yeah, the Nobel, yeah, they won the Nobel Peace Prize for inventing white LED. And I sort of question, you know, it's great, it's good that they did, fantastic, but at the same time, from my perspective, they made the situation that much more worse, and knowingly or not knowing, you know, I don't know, but white LED is actually increasing light pollution, and that's been shown in research studies using satellite data and whatnot, that it's actually increasing light pollution, and it's actually ballooning the world energy budget as well, because everyone, when it's a Jevons paradox, where, you know, something's cheap and affordable and people want to use more of it, and that's what we're seeing. With LED, we're seeing more and more light projects coming on board and being lit up, and that's causing a lot of problems, not just for us, but for the natural environment that we live in, the night environment that we live in and that other species live in, whether that be animal life or even plant life. They've shown trees being affected by it. So it's a very, very big problem, and I don't think that world governments, aside from, there is some governments in the European side of things that they actually are taking it very seriously. I think I can't think of who it was offhand, but there are some countries that have enacted light pollution laws to try and control the problem or slow it, and I think North America is a little slow to get on board with that, unfortunately. So hopefully
Australia is one of them.
We bring up the rear all the time.
Yeah, Australia is one. I'm trying to. There is some other countries
New
in
Zealand's
Europe.
big. Australia's big.
Yeah.
Sean,
So it's great to see, there's more and more people that are becoming aware of it. But, in my outreach, I find that I'm not reaching the people that I need to reach. Unfortunately, I'm preaching to the choir. It's the people that are following me, and they already know about this, and I got to expand the message somehow and get it out there. And that's always challenging to do. So, but I keep trying.
I think one of
Go ahead.
the big challenges is first of all realizing that people are vain, and that if you can't show how it can affect them and how it can better their life and make it personal to them, you're gonna be you're whistling in the dark. You're pissing in the wind. It just you're never. It's going to be an uphill battle, all the time. You have to be able to show people how it affects them. And if that has to be, in my estimation, that has to be one of the first frontline, modes of attack, if you will.
And it's not only that. It's also big businesses too, and especially on the East Coast in the U.S., the big business and the advertising that goes on. That I mean, look at Australia and what Australia has done. If you're a business, if you're not open, you're not allowed to have the lights on. And unfortunately, anywhere east of the Mississippi, for the most part, and most big conglomerate cities in the United States, there is nothing like that. You can you paid a bill, you can keep the lights on all night. You could keep as many light bulbs as you want. I work for McDonald's Corporation. You don't think McDonald's is ever going to shut off that? They're never going to shut off their lights. They're open 24 hours. They're open all the time. But you know what? These types of things are unnecessary. And that's why the IDA and Sean and everybody else gets involved in this, because it's unnecessary. People know you're open. You don't need to have lights shining up to the sky because you're open.
It's not even being open. A lot of these places are lit up when they're closed, and there's no reason to even have it lit up like that. But I'm not sure what it's like down in the States there, but up here, Walmart, as example, has been not too bad in a lot of cases. They the Walmart that's near myself, they actually shut off their parking lot lights, except for 2 of them. They shut them off overnight and reduced the store lighting, which is really great. And I used them as an example in a lot of cases, but I have yet to get a good following. Other businesses that want to do the same, because they fall back to crime. They don't want to be broken into. They think that having the light on is going to stop the thief from breaking in, which it doesn't. But and the same with street lights. A lot of people think. I had an interesting situation where I live. I actually had 2 street lights dimmed because I was doing my telescope stuff at the time out front in the driveway, and I had talked to the city and they agreed to do this. And the neighbors actually freaked out because it was darker looking on the street, and they started saying that crime was going to increase and whatnot, which was completely not the case. But it's difficult to change the mentality and the thinking of people. Think about how difficult it is to change yourself. Make changes in your own life, and now you're expecting other people to change. It's pretty big,
and especially when it comes to safety.
Hill to
I mean,
climb.
it's hard to kind of change that mindset. Before you get too far away, and I forget, John G in the comments here, he want to know if you had any material that you can share. He said that his HOA is going to vote soon on some more street lights, and they want to put one in his front yard. Oh no! So if there's any materials that you have that you can share, or anybody has that they can share that might help him or any of us that are dealing with this, that would be fantastic.
I worked on here our what we call the region of Waterloo, which is comprised of 3 larger cities and some smaller townships. We actually changed back in 2017. all of the high pressure sodium streetlights to LED streetlights, and I was involved with that project for it actually was a year. I was involved with that project to come up with the designs and so forth for this changeover. I was able to get them down to 3000K. Which is better than what they had started out at, which was 4,000, and in some cases 5,000, which is really bad. But I was able to get them down to 3,000. Yeah, it's daylight. 5,000. We're talking daylight. Yeah, and I explained to them the problem, and I passed along information, scientific papers and research and whatnot. And I quoted the IDA as well and directed them that direction. So I was able to get them down to 3,000. I wasn't able to get them lower than that. I would have liked to have seen, the high pressure sodium level, the 2200K maintained, but that wasn't. They felt that it was important to have some sort of street lighting that would allow people to see color and what they call definition better, which if you dive into the science of the eyeball, it doesn't hold up basically, but they wouldn't listen to reason on that. So it was a challenging year, that's for sure. But I got them down to 3000K, and they actually went with the Leotech LED luminaire, and that is an IDA recommended fixture, streetlight fixture. So they redid all of the lighting in the region with that, and they actually started it out at 70%, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 70% in terms of the brightness. They didn't max it out. They didn't do 100%. They ran them at 70%, and then they dim them between midnight and 5 a.m. as well. They knock them down a few luxes. It's not something that you can really see with your eye, but I measured some of the street lights to see the drop, and they do drop. It just isn't really significant. So, they're trying to save energy and whatnot. And, a lot of officials, they go by the sales brochure, and, they have these quotes that they like to throw out there about, saving energy and being environmentally friendly and that. But if you get into the real details of LED and lighting in general, you'll find that often it's the complete opposite of what they're talking about. So you got it's an uphill battle, really an uphill battle. And like I said, I've been working on it for 12 years, and I've sort of at this point now, unfortunately, because I can't get other people involved in it, it's really difficult. Even my local astronomy club, they're non-existent with regards to the light pollution effort, and they have an LPA committee, which doesn't seem to function for some reason. It's hard to get other people involved and make changes. So I've become the town kook of sorts to a lot of people. The crazy guy screaming about light pollution.
Well, you know what? We have one of those too, and I won't mention that. He knows who he is, and he sometimes watches the show. But we have somebody. He's an IDA rep, and he's in my astronomy club. Really nice guy, great guy. But yeah, it's like a one-man show. Even the people, because you know what? It's the unfortunate thing about the battle, and it is a battle, and don't have any illusions that it's not. The battle against light pollution has for a long time, even since the 60s and 70s, it's been a futile effort. Really, it has just been getting worse and worse and worse.
It is getting worse,
and it's going to continue to get worse as we could talk all about overpopulation and all that kind of stuff, and all the other things that kind of get kind of mushed. It gets into a really mushy kind of subject. But you know what? And Sean's exactly right. There is so many misconceptions out there about light pollution and what it actually does, or what lighting actually conversely doesn't do. And it's until you educate yourself on what the science is behind it and what the ideas and the thoughts are behind it, and you kind of think you get a little light bulb pop on you. You're like, you know what? That makes sense. Lighting up the interior of the car, just like you said. Well, Now they see you have a Blaupunkt stereo sitting in your car, and guess what? You're the first one that gets broken into because they can see it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
or it could be anything, spare change. It could be a left electronic
Anything.
device or anything like that.
Whatever it is.
So, yeah. And it's kind of funny because often the crimes that you see talked about on the news and stuff like that occur in areas that are actually well lit. You know, if the way they light up gas stations, as an example, you know, they should be one of the safest places on the planet with how lit up gas stations are, and yet you see robberies and things happening, you know, around gas stations, and a lot of people just don't understand, you know, how light actually works and what the implications are, and the damage that they're doing. You know, I see on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. That's probably my go-to platform. I saw someone in the chat, I think it was Mark, that said there's twits on Twitter, but
that's Mark. Yeah, that sounds like Mark.
Hopefully I'm not a twit, but but yeah, there's a company operating like a university of sorts for landscape lighting, and they keep promoting all of this landscape lighting at night, lighting up trees and all these things and that. And I keep commenting, telling them, you know, this is light pollution. This is a problem that we're trying to, you know, push back against, and the damage that it causes to the natural night environment. And they just keep spewing out their stuff and, you know, doing what they do. And that's where the uphill battle, you know, exists, is trying to push back against a lot of false notion or misconception, as you put it, Dan, with regards to lighting. So
no, there's a lot, and just go out, and we say it on the show. It's the part of the tagline of the show, whether it be astronomy, astrophotography, your personal life, light pollution, whatever. Go out and educate, learn, trust, but verify everything you see, everything you hear. Do your due diligence and check things out. Don't take things for granted. Don't just read the headline. Yeah, don't get in there and realize if it's something that you're interested in and that you want to make a stand for, make sure you know what you're standing for. And you know, it's super important to educate yourself on whatever subject that may be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, but and for all those big businesses out there that like to keep their lights on all night because they think they're going to get robbed, go get an Alexa or go get a motion sensor, $39 from Philips Hue, and you could turn on the lights if somebody comes in. You know what I mean? I mean, listen, every single business out there that I know of that's a big business has infrared cameras inside the building. So there's no reason for any of this. I just bought one for myself. I bought a nice infrared dual camera. It's brand new from Reolink, PoE. It's wonderful. I don't even have to plug it in.
Awesome.
There you go. And
what model did you get there?
This is brand new. This is the Duo 2 PoE, and it's got it does 270 degrees. There's two lenses that go out like fish eyes.
Oh wow!
And
nice. Okay, cool.
And so it's going to cover my whole backyard. It's 4K. It's
does it have the does it have the ability to turn the infrared off at night?
Yes,
so
yes,
that
it
it's
does.
Not shining?
Yeah, check that.
Okay, yeah, because I have security cameras up too, and they monitor. You know, the one camera monitors the scope, which is outside at the back of the house now. But when I was interesting enough, and I think this has to do with coatings, and I never really you know, dived into it to find out, but when I was using my Skywatcher Esprit, I never had any problems with the infrared light being on. But when I started using the Explore Scientific, and I also started using the new Starfield scope that I got, I actually noticed that the infrared was interfering with the imaging. It was washing it out. So I actually, at this point, I don't have the ability. Unfortunately, those are Lorex cameras. They're older ones at this this point,
Mhm.
they don't have the ability to turn off the infrared, so I have to actually turn the whole camera right off when I do imaging. So it's something to remember when you're looking at buying cameras, security cameras for, in our case, astrophotography, that you have the ability to turn off that infrared light, because it can possibly interfere with your imaging.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I know a couple of people that have pictures, including yourself, that just shattered by the infrared on the camera. And
Yeah.
hopefully, I can keep the camera on, and we'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So
You guys had a great show tonight. Really, really good stuff. I
Oh.
was actually watching. I just wasn't participating in the chat.
Well, no,
But
that's
really great
fine.
show. Really interesting.
Thank God you texted me. I would have never known, because your screen wasn't even open, so I didn't even see you sitting in.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So
Well,
you
that's why I
texted
thought
me.
I'd
I was
let you
like,
know that
oh,
I was
okay, he's
waiting.
here. Yeah. So, but yeah. So for those of you who want to know, I think it was PoE. There was a question in the chat about PoE. PoE is power over Ethernet, and basically it uses, for really layman's terminology here, it uses, your Ethernet cable has 8 wires in it, and one of those wires is used to channel the electric that powers this. And so what that means is you do need a couple of things. You do need a powered switch that has power over Ethernet ports in it that pushes that signal out. But if you have that, all you need to do is run an internet cable right to the back of this, and it turns on. So
You can also get an injector.
you can get a PoE injector for those of you that have just regular switches or hubs in your house that want to turn it into power over Ethernet. You can do that. The 8-port PoE switches are relatively cheap. They're not that bad. If you want a 24 or 48 like I have in my room, then that's it's probably about $400 or $500. So
the Cisco ones are, I think the 26 port is like $300.
Yeah, it's not super expensive, but it's a lot more expensive than than an injector if you just have one already. But yeah, so
now the Reolink camera there, Dan, just something I don't know about that new model. I have a couple of the RCL 410s.
Is that the little bubble guy? The little bubble guy?
No, they're what do they call those? Can't think of the name that they call them, but they're not the dome type or anything like that. And I've got two new ones too.
Okay.
But
I got it.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know what they call
the
them.
regular
I can't think of the name,
bullet
but,
cameras.
Bullet cameras. That's it. Bullet cameras. So I was thinking shotgun, but I knew that wasn't
Close
right.
enough.
Close enough. Yeah. They sometimes you lose connection to them, and you have to physically hard reset them. So it'll be interesting. You have to let me know. Keep me updated on yours. How it works and stuff like that, because
weekend project. So we'll see.
Is it okay?
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, because I've been talking to Reolink about the problem, but haven't come up with a solution yet.
So literally all I got to do is run a internet cable, no kidding, probably about 6 feet to my outside. And I already got runs of, I already got, was it chases that run the cable already. So it's just going to go right out the hole and put it right next to my, actually, I don't even need to run it. I could actually, there's an extension port in my outside access point. I could just use that to hit the camera if I wanted to, but you know what? It doesn't help if somebody wants to rob anything, because then all I got to do is unplug it from outside. So
yeah. No, it's not going to stop anybody from doing, robbing you or anything like that. But at least you can keep an eye on things. And I love the cameras just for the sometimes the mysteries that come up. You wonder how something, I had wildlife that was doing certain things in the backyard, and I was curious as to what wildlife it was. So you can discover interesting things about what's going on your property and so forth.
Oh yes. You could find cats, dogs, rabbits, squirrels, possums,
skunks, possums, yeah, all sorts of stuff. Yeah. I had one of the security cameras out front. There was a black garbage bag that ended up on the street, and I was curious as to what happened. And apparently, the wind blew it on the street, and the car grabbed it and dragged it up the road. But I would never have known that had I not had a security camera.
That's awesome. I'm just looking at some of the stuff in here.
Yeah, I got the Mark. I got the link that you sent. I'll check it out.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
So you guys imaging tonight? You doing some imaging, or
it's cloudy by me? I got nothing.
Is it cloudy
tonight.
there? Yeah, we got a clear night here unexpectedly. So raining. Yeah. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So yeah, we got clear night here. So Ron and I are imaging. And is it rainy season there? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah. We've gotten in the last week and a half, we've gotten about 4 inches of rain.
Oh my gracious.
Oh wow.
4 to 5.
That's crazy. That's a lot. Yeah.
That is
Florida.
Yeah, insane.
Have you had any clear nights at all this summer? Down there? Yeah, you.
There's been some. Okay. Yeah, there's been some clear nights. Yep.
Okay.
It's just that I'm surrounded by 3 oceans. You know, I got the Atlantic, I got the Gulf, and I got the Caribbean. You know, and the weather down here, it's crazy. I mean, we've had lightning storms that have blown through here, and it will open up and it'll put 1.5 inches of rain on the ground in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's insane. It's crazy. And then all of a sudden it'll just blow out and the sun will come out and it's like nothing happened.
I'll show you.
It's crazy.
I'll show you something real quick if I could get it to come up. So, and let me just unzoom it because it's a little crazy. So here you go.
You know, the other thing that I think could be very helpful for people that do a lot of remote stuff, especially when they're dealing with, you know, sensitive electronics, you know, and they want to have the ability to make them weatherproof and so on and so forth, is the Pelican cases.
Yep.
You know, like the Pelican Air. I've got a couple of Pelican cases. And I have a Pelican Air that is dedicated just for, you know, my imaging stuff. I've got other Pelican cases just for my photography stuff. You know, I want to be able to, you know, throw that stuff in a safe, a weatherproof, watertight safe, you know, if I need to.
It's a big safe.
Especially down here, you know, and it's the Pelican cases are great. They're ballistic. They're tough as nails. I mean, they're great. And for the sensitive, you know, electronics that you've got, you know, the ability to pick that thing up, throw it in the back of the Jeep, and go.
Here you go. So here's something. So I wasn't able to image it, but the past couple of nights, I was able to kind of complete the H alpha part of my Wizard Nebula.
Fantastic.
There we go.
Oh, very nice. Wow.
So,
look at that.
Yeah,
that's great, Dan.
There you go.
That's about 11 hours of HA. And it's pretty good. It's unfortunate that I don't have the flattener yet on the scope, but I'm going to just crop it out for right now and then just move on.
Why don't you have the flattener on the scope?
Because Astrophysics is on back order.
Oh, they're on back order. That's too bad.
So,
okay.
So I was able to get that Astrophysics scope from that friend of mine, and
that's right. Yeah.
And
you're using the Astrophysics now, are you?
That's the AP scope. Yeah. So.
Okay. Nice. Fantastic.
It's a little bit, you know, space ballsy on the sides, but but
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But
once you get that corrector, it'll be fine. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's supposed to be here at the end of this month to the middle of next month, so I'm hoping they're okay. I got to give George over at Astrophysics a ring and see if we're still on target for that, because I'm dying to get this thing, because I really want to get off and running.
Yeah.
I got everything. I got the focuser done. I got the step size done. I got everything I needed to do. Of course, the step size, of course, now is going to change because I'm going to put the flattener in there.
But
So,
yeah,
but I'll be
yeah.
close. I'll be close. You know, but other than that, it shouldn't be a problem. So we'll see. We'll see.
That's great.
Yeah.
I've been having a great time doing imaging with the Newtonian that I got, the Astrograph. It's been 10 years since I imaged with a Newtonian, a reflector setup, and I'm actually getting some really amazing results with it. I'm really impressed. Now I've got the Starizona Nexus reducer on it, so it's F3. It brings it down to F3. So it's it is a light collecting beast. 8 inches, and that it works really well.
Which one is this, Sean?
It's Starfield Optics. So they're a Canadian company that is producing telescopes. They have refractors and they have astrographs, reflectors, and they have other accessories too. Guide scopes and dew heaters and different things like that. But I've got the 8-inch version, and its native is f4. And I got the Starizona Nexus reducer. Steve down there at Starizona, he was nice enough to send me one. I asked him. I told him what I was doing and, that I wanted to try it out and test it. And he said, no problem. He sent one up to me and makes it F3. And it's been working really fabulous. In fact, the results that I'm getting with this setup, which is really interesting because it costs a lot less than refractors out there that I've used. I've used, some pretty expensive refractors. And I'm actually getting better results than I with this setup than I did previous with these expensive refractors. So it's an interesting setup, something that I think is overlooked a lot. Go-to seems to be refractors these days. Everyone wants a refractor, and I'm not sure if that's just because of the collimation aspect with regards to reflectors, and people get scared, shy away from that. But it's really proving itself to be quite good, and it's competing very much. So I think anyways, just with the images that I've been pulling off, it's competing with more expensive refractors, and it's not a really fancy setup at all. So something for people to consider.
Is it a RASA type setup where it's at the front?
No,
it's at the back.
No, it's on the side. So the light comes. It's like it's your standard. Yeah, it's the side. It's your typical reflector Newtonian. Comes out the side.
Oh, Newtonian.
Yeah. It's a Newtonian. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's working really well.
You cut out on me. I didn't hear that it was a Newtonian.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a Newtonian, so that it comes out the side, and I've got the camera and the filter wheel attached, and it hangs on like underneath, kind of thing. And I'm using the 268M, the QHY 268M, which I really love. And I've been using the it's a great camera. Really, it's been working really fabulous. And then I got the Optolong filters, which are really great too. Having really good results with the Optolong. I've used Optolong filters for the last 5 years, and I've never been disappointed with them. So really happy. And the 3 nanometer filters have been working really well too. So
those things are awesome.
And for anyone who doesn't win your 3 nanometer filters, I'll have a set that's going to be going up for giveaway too.
There you go. Here you go. So we got dual sets going out. There you go.
We got dual sets, and I picked up 2 of the new Sky Hunters from Ioptron there.
I heard.
Yeah, so I'm going to be using one for a mobile setup for myself, and the other one's going to be going for giveaway. I'm going to be giving it away on the channel at some point. So
that's going to be awesome. I'm going to sign up for that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the next to the 3 nanometer filters. That's a nice little package.
Absolutely.
In terms of cost and whatnot. So you
already got questions in the chat about the L Ultimate.
Oh no! Not the L Ultimate.
This is information that's going to be waited for a future date. Everybody, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I need to do more testing with the L Ultimate to really get a firm grasp on its capabilities. I think it's great for cutting out light pollution. I think it's great. It's showing good results with its signal to noise aspects, picking up that signal, that H alpha and the O3 in that. But I do want to do more testing with it before I get into discussing it, and that's something that'll come at a later date. So I've got the newer version of it. They did send me one, and I did do some testing with it. Unfortunately, the computer, the SSD drive in the telescope computer died on me, and I lost all that data. So
Oh no.
I have to go back and I had to replace the SSD drive, and so I have to go back and reshoot with it and whatnot. But that's okay, because I still want to do some further testing with it.
All right, cool. Let's see. Dave Schaefer had a question. So the chip is the same in the QHY and ZWO. It's got both have the Sony IMX571. So what makes the difference between the cameras? And I think Sean, if you want to hit that, I think you might have a better grasp.
I'm actually, you know what, I can't really answer that too much in depth, because I don't have experience with the other cameras. I don't really know much about them. I had a ZWO camera, 1600, the MM Pro, years ago, and I sold it. But primarily, I work with the QHY cameras. So for me to make that comparison is going to be a little difficult. The sensor itself is going to obviously be the same. But you could have minor differences with regards to its, how the company has put the camera together, and the software that they use, the firmware that they use, and whatnot, how that's going to all produce your final image. But like I said, I really can't comment too much on ZWO or Altair cameras, because I actually have no experience with them, other than the fact that I can tell you that the firmware is going to be different. So that could prove to be something that makes one camera maybe have a slight advantage over another. But I've seen great results with all the cameras, all the brands out there. I think it's a matter of shooting knowing your stuff in the hobby, and shooting objects that are appropriate for your location, and time of year, and so forth. So you can get some great results even with I got some great results when I first started out with a Canon 350 XT, a Rebel.
That's what I had.
Nothing fancy about that. It was a stock camera, but I got some great results with it. So it's it's all about how you use the tool, basically.
Yeah. So there are some things, as far as I know, just for basic stuff, as far as firmware, and Mark Ellis already hit on it in the chat. The firmware and the binning is a little bit different in the cameras and how it runs. And also the shooting modes in the QHY are a lot different than than the ZWO. It gives you a little bit more functionality in the cameras than the ZWO allows you. You could do some different settings in whether Sequence Generator Pro or Nina for the ZWO cameras, but there are specifics, extended well settings for the QHY cameras, the photographic shooting settings that are presets that are in the firmware, that make it a little bit easier to use to me. In all fairness, to people in the chat, it is the same chip. And, what it comes down to on chip functionality, it's going to be the same. For the most part, it's all about the software running the camera.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and that's sort of what I was alluding to, is that it's going to be pretty much the same across the board. There's going to be some minor differences in that. George in the chat there actually just brought up the fact about the QHY having more cache memory, and that's true. So there's little differences with the firmware, little differences in the hardware and what they're doing. But ultimately, all of the cameras are going to produce good results in the hands of someone that knows how to use it and get those results from them.
Absolutely. All right. So what we got to do is we eventually got to give away a Masters of Pixinsight class. Yeah, let's do the spin.
And do we have a picture of the week this week?
We do. We have a picture of the
Oh,
week.
yeah.
That's yeah. There you go. So we got to
We
do
can
that
do
too.
picture of the week. We gotta do. Yeah, it is. Like I just looked at the clock. I'm like,
I
holy
know,
moly,
time
it's 20
flies.
after 10 already.
Time flies when you're having fun, man. It's already
Sure
20 after
does.
10. All right, so here we go. This is for the Masters of Pixinsight class that we're giving away. We now are up to 90 entries for this giveaway. So the little slivers of the pie are getting smaller and smaller. So here we go. Round and round, nobody knows. And if Christopher Setnes wins, we're going to spin it again because he just won. And he didn't. And it looks like Andy Lee has won
Fantastic.
Masters of Pixinsight class. And congratulations to Andy. I'll send you out an email along with a copy to Pete Pruill, who will get in contact with you about how to redeem your Masters of Pixinsight class. So congratulations to Andy. I'll send you that email tonight. And let's go look at, let's see if I can grab it up here. AstroWorld live site. And you know what? All week, I didn't have any complaints about voting. I think we got it licked. I think we got it licked. I got to thank them. I got to thank my friend Chris Boyle, who helped me out with the website. I got to say thank you also to Simon Lewis, who actually started the website. And so thank you to both people trying to help me out. Go ahead. You look like you want to say something.
What did you find out was the problem with that? Because I know when I had voted the one time, it was giving an error message. I think was it the caching or something that was causing the problem?
It was that individual page, for whatever reason, was checked to cache every time it loaded. So whenever you went in there, it just loaded to whatever it was the last time on your computer. So if you voted a week ago and you went in the next week, it'll say it's not accepting votes.
It would say, exactly. What were you using for caching? Just out of curiosity.
It's the plugin it's the not Raffle Press. It's a YOP poll plugin that into each individual plugin there was a caching on in there, and also a WP cache. WP cache also had some issues too. So
all right, that's fine. Yeah, I've noticed some issues with caching and stuff like that. Lightspeed servers and Lightspeed caching is actually a bit of an issue I found, and I've disabled that on some of the sites that I look after, and using WP fastest cache. I've been using that for years actually, and that seems to work pretty solid. So
maybe that's something to look at.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so let me just load up the picture of the week so we can look at them. So remember what exactly the pictures are, and it's also loading so much faster now. It's not like craziness anymore. So, picture of the week on the website. Here we go, and still our picture of the month for July. We're going to be voting for next week. So make sure you get your votes in for the July picture of the week. That's underneath. So. Current picture of the week entries is Josh's Trifid and Lagoon Nebula. That's done with the red cat. Then we got Lobster Claw. I believe that's Mark Ellis, I think. Phoenix Astro, Mark Ellis, yep. And then we got Fleming's Triangular Wisp. That's by Christopher Setnes. And the Thor's helmet. Another one by Mark Ellis.
Wow, nice. They're like awesome.
Nice. Yeah, those are great images. I'm really jealous about M8 and M20 because I can't image M8 or M20 from my backyard, unfortunately, due to a forest that exists and the trees blocking it. So the only way I can get at it is to do you? Yeah. It I don't know. I love the location and I love the house and that, but if I could change, one thing, it would be to cut down all the trees that are in the south.
There you go. All right, so here we go. So we only got 10 votes. We went from 50 and 48 to 10. So people must have been on vacation or something because
Well, no, I
nobody
think they
voted.
just had a hard time picking between them because they were all phenomenal. So I'm just going to throw that out there.
Okay, fair
If I
enough.
had
So
to vote, I'd probably be like, I don't know where to throw my vote. They're really, really, really good. So, okay.
Yeah.
so this
that's what
isn't
I'm
going to
gonna
be
say.
even a surprise for me because I haven't even looked at it all week because I've been working like mad. So let's take a look and see. And here we go. And it is a tie.
Tie. Yeah.
3 votes for Josh and 3 votes for the lobster claws. So you got the lagoon and the lobster claw. So now Eric has
What happens
already,
now?
I'm sorry, Mark already has a picture of the month. So the picture of the week will still be a winner. Unfortunately, Mark, I'm sorry, you could only have one picture of the month. Josh does not have a picture of the month yet, I don't think. So we will, we will put them both up as winners of picture of the week, but Josh will be the only one that's eligible for the picture of the month for August. So as far as that's a true statement, I got to look at the other pictures and see, but I don't think he has one yet. But if he does not have one, then the only one that's eligible for the picture of the week would be Christopher Setnes will be the default winner for that because the other picture was also by Mark Ellis. So nice job to everybody. I mean, really great pictures. Don't get those pictures in, and don't forget, coming up probably in, let's see, September, October, we'll do it for the Halloween. We said we were doing it. So for the Halloween, we start putting in your images, your submissions for the most creatively messed up astrophoto contest that is going to be going on, and we're going to do that the Friday. If it's, let's see, the Friday before Halloween, we'll do.
Yeah, the scary astrophotography.
Yeah, so it's the most creatively messed up astro pic, and then you could do anything you want to it. Now, I'm not just talking about, you know what, I screwed up my deconvolution, so I'm going to send that in because it looks all squirrely. No, I want something that's really that's not original to me. I do that every time I image. I screw up deconvolution. So you know what? I want something that's really weird and out there. You know what I mean? So
I saw, and I've got to say, just because it was in my mind, I saw somebody posted on social media in the past couple of days. They had done a mosaic, I believe it was of the moon, and it was, it failed. But I saw it, I'm like, that's kind of actually cool, like very, very Warhol of them. But
very Warhol.
I mean, that was like the first thing that came to my mind. But they posted, they're like, yeah, this was my failed first attempt at a mosaic. So I'm thinking that's kind of what you have in mind. Am I right?
Yeah, something kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking through the list, and the last up to May, and then oh wow. Yeah, no, that's right, June. So yeah, so it looks like that Josh Kovac will be in the running with that Lagoon and Trifid Nebula because he does not have a picture of the month yet. So that's
fantastic. Yeah, no, that's a great image. Really nice.
Yep.
Nicely done. Yeah,
absolutely. I can't wait to do this. Go ahead. Sorry.
What? No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I can't wait to get this calendar. I'm starting to put the calendar together because we have now 7 pictures of the month, or we will have 7 by the end of this month. Great. And so I'm starting to put the calendar together, and it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Cool. Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, Scott C there in the chat, he was asking me if I do collimation lessons for the Starfield telescope, if he brings the beer, and the answer is yeah. I mean, you bring beer, and
must
no charge.
Beer. It must bring the beer.
Must bring beer.
What was that?
I don't know how good the collimation will be, but maybe we should do the collimation before we drink the beer.
That's probably a good idea.
I could start quoting a strange brew for you. Hey, we did this collimation in 3B.
Yeah.
3 beers and it looks
Yeah.
good.
3 beers, yeah.
Take off, you
Oh, boy, here
hoser.
we go.
Take off, hey, you hoser. That's the stuff.
Act. I love that movie. That movie's great.
And the
Yeah, that's a
watching
great- that's a good
viewer plummets.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
No, the best was the Great White North and the Takeoff song with Geddy Lee. I mean, that was like tops.
Mhm.
That was like the best. You can't beat
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah. Yeah, it
anyway,
was awesome.
we're coming up on like 10:30. We've been on for like 2.5
10:30.
hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Whenever
Okay.
you come on, Sean, it always goes long.
nah.
It all goes
it's all
long. I know. I'm
fun.
trying to beat my last record.
Oh, I think it's 3:17. So you're a little short of that. tonight, but
3:17.
yeah,
So
a little short on
a little short. Yeah.
That was
Maybe
a
another
great
night.
show, man. That 3 hours went by just like that.
It just went quick, and we just.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure tonight would go long. We would just stay on, but you know what? I got to get up really, really early
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I
Yeah,
got to
no,
get the car
absolutely.
taken care of tomorrow, and then an MRI next Saturday. So that's not a lot
no.
of fun.
Oh, joy.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's the
Yeah.
elbow. It's that whole. It's, believe it or not, I can't even make this up. This is a telescopic injury. I
Leave it
injured
to you,
my
Really?
I injured my tendons
What did you?
and my ligaments in my elbow because of the telescope. And this is what happened.
What did you do?
I'll tell the story. Here we go.
Okay. All right.
For those of you that know me, I'm not that smart. I may act smart, but I'm not very. I'm a little dumb. So I was working with my EQ8R.
That's funny. Sorry, I gotta laugh at that because
Yeah, I
that
saw
sounds
that
like
in the
me.
chat.
I just fake it.
but I'm sitting there, and I decided to go side by side with my EQ8R. So I have it all set up. It's weighted perfectly. I have my 127 on one side, and on the other side, I have my 80 Esprit with my Eagle and my guide scope and everything on the other side to kind of balance things out. And it balances. I did the pencil trick. I did the pencil, you stick your pencil underneath the dovetail and try, and you move things back and forth and get whatever, you get it close. So I did that. So what do? I'm done with my imaging. Everything is great. So I start taking off the Esprit. So I take off the Esprit and I'm holding it in my left arm, and out of the corner of my eye, the 127 starts to fall, and it's going to smack into the pier. So I got my right arm like this, holding the 127 just within inches of the pier, and my left arm is hyperextended with the Esprit, the Eagle, the guide scope, like 20 pounds I'm trying to hold. And I'm trying to reach the table that I have over here. By holding this and balancing everything, I finally get, thank God, the scope to the table, but not at the ripping of the tendons or something in here, hence the MRI. And this was back in March, April. And it kind of got better, and it wasn't. And I took some Motrin, and it was fine, and whatever. And then I did some work at the store, and I injured it again, and now every once in a while, if I like, I can't turn that hand, I can't turn the doorknob, so it just hurts. But yeah, you're 127, Dave, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. It didn't hit the pier. Don't worry. I wouldn't have sold it. And even if it did hit the pier, I put the stock focuser back on it, so it doesn't matter. but your 127 is fine. Don't worry. I didn't sell you any damaged goods, Dave. I would never do that. But
no.
But hey, everything was safe, but that's what happened, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
It's quite the story. Never heard of anyone being injured in the hobby like that. That's for sure.
Oh, there you go.
Way to go, Dan.
Getting
You
old.
got the distinction.
Getting
We got
old.
to get you an award.
I'm
Getting
telling you.
old.
The
That's why
most
I got
honest,
the
the most honest astrophotographer award.
yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Well, that's why I got the pole master for my setup, is because I was getting too old to, get down on the ground and look through the polar scope on the mount.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that
I
stuff's
got
for the
the
birds.
I gave up on that.
yeah.
I gave up on that a long time. I couldn't. Dude, I put.
I was okay getting down, but getting up, I had it on the cell phone, call my wife. Hey, can you come out here and help?
The best is when you sit there and you spend whatever 15, 20 minutes sticking your head under there and try and get the polar scope ready to go. And then you go and lurch yourself up by putting your arm on the tripod. And then you got to do it all over again.
Yeah. That reminds me of a story when I would travel out to a dark site. This goes back a decade ago, but I went out to a dark site, set everything up. Everything was polar aligned with the telescope and really great. And there was this lady that was new to the club I was in at the time, the astronomy club, and she came over and she's like all impressed with my setup and that, and she grabbed the tripod legs and shook it and said, "Boy, that's really sturdy." I was
awesome. Look at this thing.
Really? Look at this thing. Look how sturdy this is. She was shaking it.
This.
And I'm like, no, don't do that. So I had to repeat everything.
Oh, that's horrible. That's horrible. My buddy Dave said I was already the most honest astrophotographer in my Cherry Springs rants.
No.
Yeah, I was that. I'll never live that one down. But
yeah, I had my setup, Sean, in Webster. When I was up in New York, I had taken the big rig out to Webster Park, and I was attempting to do some imaging, and but I was also timing to see how quickly I could get it set up. And Dan still to this day doesn't believe me, but yeah, I did get it up and ready to go in 20 minutes out of the car.
Wow.
Yeah, I did. But there was a family that walked up on me, and if you watch the intro to some of the videos that I have, especially the newer ones, and it has the pictures of that rig, and that was at night in Webster Park. It was this family that walked up on it, and they had like 4 kids under the age of like 6, 7 years old. And they were all like right up on the scope, and and this and that, and mom and dad came over, and they were all in this and that, and dad looked at me and he said, is it okay if they say, oh yeah, they're not going to hurt it, there's no way. I mean, there's no way. I mean, they're little kids. But then dad said, how much was that thing? And I told him, and you should have seen Dad corral those kids.
Don't touch.
Don't touch. Don't touch. Step away from the telescope.
Oh man, he couldn't have corralled them faster if he had a lasso.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Dave Barnett said he had a little girl run into and take the scope out of Custer Institute. Just ran in and took the scope and left.
Oh my!
Oh, that's lovely.
A little one. I'm sure. They have some big scopes over there, but anyway, it's been a great show, everybody. It's I think it's time for me to hit the hay, and maybe I've been on this diet for about 9 days. I haven't had a drink in about 11 days. I'm I'm starting to get twitchy. And
yeah. Is that why your eye's been doing funny things through the show?
What?
You seem a little more irritable. I don't know why.
That has nothing to do with the show. That's personal life crashing down. But hey,
we'll call you Grumpy Dan.
Oh, it's funny you say that because Tyler Bowman called me up because
I know I saw it. That's where I'm getting it from.
Grumpy. I'm like, shut up, man. I was like, there's a reason why my ex-girlfriends are exes, and one of them is blowing up my phone. So
yeah.
But it's we
love Tyler.
No, yeah, Tyler's a lot of fun. But, you know, he definitely is no filtered type of person. But but anyway, everybody, listen, Sean, again, thanks for the unexpected visit. You know, you're always
Fantastic to be
welcome to
here.
pop
Yeah,
in.
really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever
Awesome.
you're bored and you're
Good stuff.
imaging, and you know, even when I'm cleaning my room, you come and check out. But
Yeah, I must be really bored hanging out with Dan while you clean your room.
It must have been really rainy and nobody was in the house and said, "Oh well, you know." Yeah, but Jesse, great presentation. Scott, great commentary. It's been a great show. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. We had about 39 people at the peak coming hanging out. So, not quite 40, but you know, my poster wasn't working as well as it should have tonight. So, everybody, have a good night. Again, thanks to everybody. And remember, as always, to keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And we'll see you Wednesday night. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Good night.